Welcome to Global Risk Community Chat. Today, our guest is Hannah Brown. I'm very happy to have you here today, Hannah. Welcome.
Thanks. I'm very happy to be here myself.
Yes, great. So let's start with some brief introduction. So could you shortly introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. As you said, my name is Hannah. I'm the head of content at e-Residency of Estonia. I'm Australian and British and moved to Estonia a couple of years ago for this role. So moved for the job after spending 5 years in Switzerland working in law and policy there, and before that in Australia. So now I'm working as the head of content, sort of more on the creative side of working, and I'm bringing this program to the world along with my Estonian and other international colleagues. So what's e-Residency? Some of your audience might be asking. It's an Estonian government-led initiative that provides foreign entrepreneurs with digital access to Estonia's e-government. Maybe they've heard that Estonia is quite digitally advanced. And so the main motivation for the program is to provide foreign entrepreneurs with the ability to start a company in Estonia and also the EU. And they can run it remotely, and they can start it remotely and run it remotely without ever visiting Estonia. So they can run it completely online from wherever they are.
That sounds super interesting, actually. So what topic would you like to discuss with us today?
So broadly speaking, the importance of transparency and in particular, transparent business environments for digitally mobile entrepreneurs operating their business across borders. So they're one of our biggest customer segments at e-Residency. They might call themselves location independent entrepreneurs. They might call themselves digital nomads or highly mobile entrepreneurs, or even remote working business founders. And because of their mobile lifestyle, they face risks in their business and personal life. So for example, one of the main ones that people would pop to their minds immediately is that they lack legal foundation where they work remotely, for example. But from a business point of view, it's very important that if they have a business, that it's in a jurisdiction that they can trust, so that because they're traveling so much, they may not be able to get there very often. So they need to make sure that it's open and trustworthy. And one of the biggest conditions of this is, in our opinion, is transparency.
Yeah, I do understand where you're coming from. So on that note, let's follow into that. And then what is the business case for transparency and why you think it is very crucial? And can you kind of elaborate on this?
Yeah, so I think there's a very strong business case for transparency and how a business environment is organized and regulated by the public sector and organized for the private sector as well. It leads to improved corporate safety. And it breeds trust in relationships between business, government, many other customers in the business sector as well, and just basically helps create a better functioning business environment. So people, if there is an open business environment, if it's a transparent one, it's very easy to do due diligence on your partners, your investors, your suppliers, anyone you're entering into business with. And if it's published, reported online and easily accessible, this is even better. So having an open business environment means entrepreneurs have all this information available to them, and they can control who they do business with. And having it all online, as I said, having it digitally means, if they rely on the virtual, so if they are location independent and they're relying, or a digital nomad, and they're doing all their work on their laptop from wherever they are, and it's all easily for them there online, then that will make doing business much easier. And maybe just before I finish this point, think about the opposite. If there's wide scale secrecy, this can erode trust. It can conceal bad business dealings, and it can also, which can also then make people make bad decisions because they don't have all the information available to them, which ultimately will distort markets and harm society.
Yeah, that's actually very true. I think very something I think most people also don't consider about much, but I think it's like an important aspect of it all. So I want to kind of go deeper into the into another case example, which is essentially, since you are in Estonia, and Estonia has like more advanced digital environment on that note, could you maybe share some more about what is the business environment like in Estonia, and what maybe the rest of the governments can learn from it as well?
Yeah, so Estonia has a very, very open business environment. So not just the fact that it's digital and everything's online, but also it has policies and regulatory measures to ensure that Estonian companies publicize have to have certain information public, so that their customers, suppliers, partners can do the due diligence on them. So for example, you can have a look at Estonian companies' registry card online. A lot of it's free, but some you might need to just pay, a sort of an administrative fee, like €1 or €2. And anyone can look it up. So you can Google it now and have a look at any Estonian company if you know where to look. So you can look at annual reports, articles of association, assets, trading licenses, and obviously the key financial reports as well. And in some circumstances, even, naughty things they've done, unresolved reporting breaches will be publicly listed as well. So you'll also be able to see that. And I mentioned that there are some regulatory rules to breed openness as well. So in Estonia, every company has to list their ultimate beneficial owner, which I think is really important so that you can see who is behind the company. And also the concept of using sort of shadow directors, shadow owners is forbidden. So this is really important, I think, particularly for the work that we do at e-Residency, where there are a lot of foreign owners of companies in Estonia. I think last year about 20% of the companies started in Estonia were started by e-residents, foreigners. So that's quite a big chunk of people that aren't known, previously known to the country. So that's really important. And yeah, just a quick stat that you can like believe me when I say that Estonia is a very open business environment, but there are quite a lot of sort of indices that evidence this as well. So Transparency International has a corruptions perception index, and Estonia has been rising in the last decade and is now ranked 13 in the world. So amongst some of the more well-known bigger countries with open business environments as well.
Yeah, that is, I think, a very important topic, and also on the note, like a very good business case for digital and mobile entrepreneurs, I believe. So I want to ask like one last question, and that is, since this is such an important topic, what can, like digital mobile entrepreneurs or even like risk managers or businesses can take away from this conversation?
Yeah, so I think in terms of digitally mobile entrepreneurs, some people might be wondering, are there that many of them? Well, actually, that we have seen a huge rise in remote entrepreneurship in the last decades. And, this term digital nomad is not going to go away. People enjoy being able to move around the world and run their business or work or freelance, or whatever it is. So it's not new, but it is increasing. And I think the pandemic has exacerbated that with, the rise of e-commerce, for example, these kinds of things. So that's the first point here that I'd like to make. They're operating in a complex global business environment, and as many of your audience will know, this hasn't caught up with the digital in many ways, particularly when we're thinking about legal risks, compliance, tax, these kinds of things. They're still sort of stuck in the, bordered aspects. So I think having a transparent, having creative and smart solutions and digital solutions for structuring your business and homing your business in an environment like this is super important for these types of entrepreneurs, because of these sort of added complexities from global laws, tax, trade, all these kinds of concepts. So I think the thing that I'm arguing here is that if you're looking for a jurisdiction that you want to be able to trust that your company will operate freely and openly and safely, then look for a jurisdiction that has high transparency. And as I've mentioned, we do have many e-residents that are negotiating these tricky issues. So this is quite an important topic for us as a program, and I think also as a country, as Estonia as a country. And so for many reasons, for many of these e-residents, trust and transparency were key reasons they set up here in Estonia. And then thinking a little bit more broadly for your audience, if you're an advisor on risk, so you're advising business owners on setting up a business or restructuring their operations and mitigating risks, give a thought to the jurisdiction and how transparent it is, because I think this could be maybe something that you haven't thought of, and maybe it's a not an easy way, but it could be, you know, a condition that makes mitigating risks easier for your clients. And if you work in companies, I think transparency is obviously not just about governments and business environments. It's about, you know, it's more broader than that. So if you have a transparent policies and procedures in your company, then maybe that's a way to mitigate risks concerning, you know, employees and contractors and customers and media as well. So yeah, those are a few takeaways that I think maybe your audience might be interested in around this topic.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely very interesting. And with that, unfortunately we kind of are running out of time. So I want to thank you again for joining us and sharing your insights and sharing this important topic, I believe, especially that has raised in the trends with, you know, the pandemic, as you said. So thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem. Thank you. And please, if you're interested in e-residency, take a look at our website, and you'll find us if you Google e-Residency Estonia, and reach out to us as well if you have any questions.
Thank you and have a great day.
Thanks very much, Ajay.